Oliver's memory froze at 18 after the accident. When he learned he was married, he exploded. Married a man? No way, I'm not gay. Someone asked him, do you still remember Parker? Oliver didn't even blink. No, who's that? I sighed, pushed open the door, and set the chicken soup by his bed. Just as I was about to leave, Oliver grabbed my wrist, his eyes shining. Hi, can we get married? 1. Oliver was hit by a car and stayed unconscious for 3 days. I heard he'd been raising hell ever since he woke up. I thought it was because I wasn't there when he opened his eyes, that he thought I didn't care about him, didn't take him seriously, and that made him mad. Oliver's always been a jealous, clingy little pup, so as soon as I got the news, I rushed over to the hospital with chicken soup, but before I even reached his room, I heard his unmistakably loud voice. Married? And to a man? No way, I'm not gay. Stop trying to mess with me. I'm fine. Sign the discharge papers already. I'm walking out of here. There was a pause inside the room. Then someone brought up my name. Do you still remember Parker? Oliver shot back without hesitation. Who? Don't know him. His voice was flat, like he was talking about some stranger. It made my chest tighten. We'd dated for 3 years, been married for 1. I'd known a pup who only had eyes for me, and now I was staring at a man who seemed cold and distant. I couldn't take it in. It was the first time he'd ever reacted to my name with complete indifference. Your husband, the guy you chased shamelessly the moment you first met him, swearing you wanted to be his loyal dog? Oliver immediately snapped. What kind of joke is that? Anyone who knew him could hear it in his voice. He was angry. The room went quiet after that. Just as I was about to step inside, Oliver spoke again, this time more serious. Judging by that look on your face, don't tell me I really married a man. He must be ridiculously good-looking to turn me gay. Who is he? Got a picture? The other man went quiet for a moment, then answered with a trace of grievance. You're the one who forbade us to keep any pictures of him. You're jealous of everything. Who'd dare save one? You'll see what he looks like when he gets here. Oliver really was jealous. After we got married, he practically wanted to keep me locked up at home, but I had a job and couldn't spend every hour with him, so he claimed all my free time instead. He'd pick me up after work every single day. And photos? Sure, he loved taking pictures of me, but hated when anyone else did. Too bad his photography skills, let's just say they needed work. Forget it, I don't like guys. Once he shows up, I'm filing for divorce. Oliver had made up his mind. You're really doing this? Fine, but when your memory comes back, don't go crying and begging him not to leave. Cut the crap, I'll never regret it. His voice was firm, absolute, leaving no room for doubt. Hearing that, I let out a long sigh. If he'd already decided, then we'd part ways with some dignity. No need to force it. I picked up the insulated soup container and pushed open the door. The first thing I saw was Oliver standing by the window, freshly changed out of his hospital gown. His features were as striking as ever, lips curled with a cocky, untamed edge. Those fox-like eyes glanced over impatiently at the sound, but when they landed on me, he froze. His best buddy gave me a sympathetic look, started to pat my shoulder in comfort, then seemed to think better of it, glanced at Oliver, and awkwardly rubbed his own nose instead. I forced a smile and set the chicken soup down on the little table by the bed. Just as I was about to pull back, Oliver grabbed my wrist. His eyes were sparkling, just like the very first time he'd ever seen me. Hi, he said, can we get married? I froze for a second, then couldn't help finding it funny. I gave his outstretched hand a light squeeze, raised an eyebrow, and said, but I'm already married. Oliver instantly wilted like a frostbitten eggplant. Even those dazzling fox-like eyes of his went dim. His best friend Ryan burst out laughing on the spot, only to get a vicious glare from Oliver. So, when are you getting divorced? I mean, what I meant was. His gaze darted around as his ears turned scarlet. At 6'2", he looked completely lost, like some clueless teenager catching feelings for the first time. Awkward, green, and far too tempting. 18-year-old Oliver really hadn't dated anyone before. Back then, he'd blush furiously if you so much as teased him. But married Oliver, well, his mind had turned into a permanent flirt fest. Let's leave it at that. What I'm saying is, if you ever do think about divorce, could you maybe give me first dibs? On my side, it's obviously an arranged marriage. No feelings involved. I'll clean it up fast. Then, I'll chase you properly, okay? His voice was careful, almost timid, a sharp contrast to the guy who'd just been loudly swearing he wasn't gay. I pulled back my hand, suddenly serious. No, I'm pretty happy with my marriage. I'm not thinking about divorce right now. I didn't look at his crestfallen expression again. I just turned and went to find the doctor. Was he really okay to be discharged? One hit to the head and he seemed even dumber. I'd barely stepped out when I heard a thump from inside. Oliver had thrown himself onto the bed in frustration. What? Planning to cheat already? Ryan's teasing voice drifted out. He jabbed the sulking Oliver in the side. Still want that divorce? Of course. Oliver shot upright. You think this spouse of mine is someone Grandpa arranged for me? Why doesn't he marry them himself? Ruining my spotless reputation like this. How am I supposed to woo someone now? Ryan laughed again. Didn't you just say you're not into guys? Didn't you say you're not gay? That's different. Stay out of it. Oliver snapped, glaring at him. Ever heard of love at first sight? His words tumbled out faster and faster. Do you know his name? Who's he married to? He won't divorce. I wonder if his family would mind me in the picture too. And Grandpa, honestly, if he wanted me to marry a man, he could have at least picked someone like that. Once I win him over, I'll show Grandpa what a real catch looks like. Say something. Oliver shoved Ryan in the shoulder. Don't move. I'm grilling you. Ryan muttered, propping his chin on his hand, staring at him. So you want to be the other man? Then let me ask you this. If that guy just now was your spouse, would you mind someone else chasing him, fighting you for him? Well, answer me. Oliver didn't hesitate. Hell yeah, I'd mind. Anyone dares. I'll smash his head in. Ryan had practically spelled it out for him, yet Oliver still didn't get it, and in his excitement, he suddenly crouched down, clutching his head and groaning in pain. I shook my head and quickened my pace toward the doctor's office. Could be a blood clot in your head. You'll need to stay in the hospital for observation. I frowned the moment I got the message. Just a little while ago, Oliver had been insisting on leaving. How could he possibly sit still now? Sure enough, the moment observation was mentioned, Oliver got all worked up. Then, he lay down. Yeah, I'm still weak. I'm a patient. I need someone to take care of me. Oliver curled up in the blanket, looking pitiful, those big dog-like eyes watery and full of expectation. I'm a little hungry. Can you feed me something? He pointed timidly at the insulated container on the small table, face flushed. That'll do. I raised an eyebrow, about to move, when Ryan's sarcastic voice cut in. Hungry? Ha, this'll do. Oh my God, the 6-star hotel seafood porridge I made for you, and you won't even touch it, but now you're all over whatever's in this thermos. I can't take it. My eyes are going blind. You don't like me. Ha, fine. I'm outta here. Ryan had his fun, and Oliver's response was a tissue pack hurled at him, face blazing red. The room settled into quiet. Now it was just Oliver and me. He sat up, eyes darting everywhere but at me. I, on the other hand, was calm. We'd been married for years. I'd seen him naked countless times. Back then, he would even strut around like a peacock, showing off in front of me, tilting his head with a smug grin. Marry me, and consider yourself lucky. I couldn't help but laugh. I opened the thermos with a habitual familiarity, eyes drifting with a touch of nostalgia. It used to be Oliver who took care of me at home. Sometimes I'd forget to eat because of work. Once he found out, he called his father, Owen, warning him not to treat me like a workhorse. He didn't know I volunteered for all the heavy tasks myself. Oliver had no career ambitions. All his energy went into me. I couldn't just indulge myself. Sleeping with the son of my benefactor and ruining his career was out of the question. Yes, Owen was my benefactor. Years ago, I was young, poor, and my parents were gravely ill. I couldn't cover school and hospital costs and nearly dropped out. Owen's foundation saved my family, allowing me to study and giving my parents access to treatment. I was always grateful and studied diligently, becoming the aloof top student everyone in college talked about. When Oliver fell for me at first sight and chased me, my heart didn't stir. I was focused on learning, wanting to repay Owen one day. Despite my cold responses, Oliver didn't give up. He was a first-year freshman, ridiculously good-looking and hot-headed, from a rich second-generation family. I disliked people like him, spoiled, reckless, living without worries under the warmth of privilege. Even with his bad temper hidden around me, I kept my distance. It wasn't until I learned he was Owen's son that I began to take his pursuit seriously. By then, he had been chasing me for 2 years. I was a senior, he was a sophomore, and the whole school knew. I responded for the first time by accepting the scarf he'd knit himself. Oliver's joy was like a dog being praised by its owner. His eyes sparkled, barely restraining the urge to hug me. Do you want to be in a relationship with me? Is that your wish? I met his excited gaze calmly. Is that okay? The anticipation in his eyes nearly burned me. I looked down at the scarf instead, knitting uneven, with holes everywhere. Clearly his work. No tricks involved. All right, let's do it then. I answered seriously, no emotion in my heart. Oliver jumped for joy and ran to hug me, planting a fierce kiss on my lips, or more accurately, biting me. His face immediately turned red. He clutched his shirt, embarrassed. Sorry, it's my first time. Didn't hurt you, did it? I frowned slightly but didn't scold him. Hey, who are you thinking about? Oliver waved his hand in front of me. The corners of his lips drooped, his dog-like eyes fixed on me, looking a little wronged. I paused while stirring the soup, tasting a spoonful to check the temperature before handing it to him. His expression brightened instantly as he drank it happily. Then, blushing, he shyly asked, "Is this an indirect kiss?" I raised an eyebrow. We'd done way more than this. Yet he was hung up on the terminology. I didn't answer, just stared at him. 18-year-old Oliver, innocent, gullible, competitive, and hot-headed. At that age, it was too fun not to tease him. No, this is called having an affair. Oliver's eyes went wide. I laughed, giving him another spoonful. He just sat there, dazed. The soup dribbled down the corner of his lips. Those pink lips glistened. His soft tongue licked them lightly, and he nervously covered his mouth. His ears were so red they looked like they'd bleed. I put down the spoon, stifling a laugh. This little moment of joy erased days of gloom. What's so funny? There's nothing funny here. Oliver still blushed, turning his head arrogantly. I can't just have an affair with someone without understanding it. Then, you should get a divorce already. I'll wait for you. There it was again. I knew he didn't mean it the way I imagined. Everything was because of his amnesia. But even knowing he wanted a divorce, trying to convince me to leave, annoyed me a little. I asked coldly, "You really want a divorce?" Oliver didn't seem to understand and nodded emphatically. I forced a polite smile, clenching my jaw. "Fine, when you're better, we'll meet at the Civil Affairs office." In an instant, Oliver transformed from shy little spouse to happy little pup, rushing over to wrap his arms around my waist. "Really? You really mean it? You'll divorce? Ha ha ha, this is great. Woo, you're the best. Baby, I still don't even know your name. Can you tell me?" Oliver blinked with big dog eyes, expectant. I laughed at him. Even now, he didn't know my identity. Was he a fool, or hopelessly slow to react? Before I could speak, his phone rang in his pocket. By the ringtone, it had to be Owen. I had always respected Owen, so I stopped teasing Oliver and urged him to answer. Reluctantly, Oliver released me, and immediately heard Owen's angry roar. "Oliver, is your head broken or what? You actually said you want a divorce from Parker. You've been chasing him for 3 years, just got married, haven't even hit the 1-year mark, and now you're talking divorce? Are you out of your mind? If you're sick, get treated, don't go ruining someone else's life. Don't forget, this is the treasure you begged and clawed for, the one you practically harassed your way into marrying. I nearly broke a few canes on your legs trying to make you change your mind, and you still insisted, and now you want a divorce. I swear if you remember, you'll get so mad you'll hurt yourself." Owen's words came fast and sharp, clearly furious. Whether it was Ryan talking or one of Oliver's bodyguards tipping him off, it wasn't surprising Owen had gotten the news so quickly. Oliver immediately covered the phone, casting a guilty glance at me. His eyes pleaded silently, "Don't listen to him. That marriage was obviously an arranged one. I don't even remember him. There were no feelings involved. The only one I've ever liked, now and in the future, is you. You were the first person I ever liked, from the very first moment." Hearing Oliver's confession again, I felt genuinely moved. From initial annoyance to gradually getting used to his presence. From acting only out of gratitude and trying to straighten Oliver's mind in that year, to being touched by his meticulous care and sincerity, I realized I liked him. Now, my feelings for Oliver went beyond just repaying Owen. My eyes flickered, but Owen had also heard Oliver's confession, and his voice thundered even louder. "Who are you talking to, Oliver? You've been in the hospital a few days, thinking you're high and mighty, and now you dare to have feelings for someone else. Just wait, I'm coming to break your legs." The phone lit up and went dead. I raised an eyebrow and asked Oliver, "What now? Are you choosing to take a beating, or take the beating?" Oliver said, frowning but straightening his back, "It's fine, he's my dad, he won't kill me." Before I could finish, the sentence I'd meant to say had already slipped out. "Are you choosing the beating, or me?" I stared at him silently. He froze, pink lips trembling. "You, of course I choose you." I chuckled softly, patting his cheek. "Then get ready for a beating." I stood, walked out, and locked the door. Inside, Oliver pounded on it, shouting, "I choose you. I choose you. Of course I choose you. Believe me." Owen arrived quickly. Within 10 minutes, he was there, holding a cane. He looked surprised to see me. "What are you doing here?" I just smiled and stayed silent, playing the recording. "Then, you should get a divorce." "Really? You really mean it? You'll divorce? Ha ha ha. This is great." Those 2 lines alone made Owen's veins bulge with anger. He kicked the door open with a bang and locked his fierce gaze on Oliver. "Today, I'll teach you a lesson, you fickle, shallow-hearted playboy." He brandished the cane with skill. It was so worn and glossy from use that it had clearly been swung countless times. Oliver ran around the small room, trying to dodge, still arguing back. "I am getting a divorce. I'm seeking true love. What arranged marriage? Go marry yourself. Don't drag me into an early, meaningless wedding." Owen's anger only intensified. In the cramped VIP room, the 2 of them chased each other around. If this weren't an expensive private room, someone would have stopped them by now. At this point, only I could intervene. But thinking of Oliver forgetting me, being capable of love at first sight with someone else, and even wanting a divorce for that person, I was furious. Seeing the cane about to strike Oliver, I couldn't help stopping Owen. "Dad, don't do this. I believe Oliver doesn't mean it." After all that movement, Owen was panting heavily. He pointed the cane at Oliver. "This kid, 3 days without a beating and he's tearing the place apart, even talking about divorce." Oliver froze when I called out, "Dad, what did you just call him?" I smiled. "Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Parker, your current husband, future ex." Oliver stopped running and throwing tantrums. He froze for a moment, then suddenly buried himself in the blankets, only his red ears peeking out. "That kid, what's wrong with him now?" I smiled and explained everything to Owen. When I mentioned how Oliver saw me and immediately wanted to marry me, Owen twitched his beard and glared. "I never agreed to you two, but that stubborn kid insisted you marry him, and now he's blaming me for an arranged marriage, and the result? Ha! That brat still wants a divorce." Owen poked at the mound of blankets on the bed with his cane, and Oliver grumbled back from inside, "Why should I divorce? I'm not divorcing." It seemed the matter was settled calmly, at least for everyone else, but only I remembered that before his memory loss, he had been thinking about leaving me. He felt my intention in marrying him wasn't genuine. 2 days before the accident, he had been called to a drinking party and apparently had drunk a lot. Ryan had called me to pick him up. As I reached the door of the private room, I overheard people talking. "Parker is only with you because of your dad. Because your dad's rich. The richest man. Parker is after your family's money. When he was in college, he didn't know your status. Probably just thought your family was moderately wealthy. Didn't take your pursuit seriously. Only after someone mentioned your dad did he turn his attention back to you." The whole room fell silent. Everyone stared at Oliver, some sympathetic, some disdainful, some even gloating. In their eyes, Oliver hadn't taken over the family business, instead handing it to an outsider. They thought him foolish, and they didn't hold back. "Don't believe it, plenty of people can confirm it. Parker even asked specifically about your dad." "You fool, thinking it's true love. Wake up, don't get burned again. One day, when he's running the company, you'll be shown the door." Oliver's response was a sharp bang, a bottle smashed. With a cold expression, he tossed the broken bottle aside. "I haven't hit you in 2 years, thinking I'm being nice." As the son of a billionaire, Oliver was naturally proud. Over the years, the only person he would soften for was me. Today, after hearing so many degrading words, he finally acted, and that already showed his restraint. But they thought he was a toothless tiger. They had crossed the line multiple times, and this time it struck deep. That night, I picked Oliver up from the police station. All the way, he leaned against the passenger seat, silent. His eyebrows were tightly furrowed, an unshakable irritation lingering. I glanced at him, unsure how to start a conversation. Oliver was straightforward. He never hid things. I had been waiting for his questions. That was our usual rhythm. But that night, he said nothing. He seemed to deliberately avoid examining why we were together. Yet he lacked security, always holding onto me tightly when sleeping, afraid of losing something. "You really love me, don't you, Parker? Say you love me." In a daze, someone whispered in my ear, cautiously, as if afraid to wake me. I mumbled and turned over, drifting into sleep. Those days were so busy that I hadn't noticed Oliver's feelings at all. He had become clingy, asking 7 or 8 times a day if I loved him. Only satisfied with a proper answer would he stop. Now, looking back, Oliver must have believed it, believed the lies that I was only with him for money. After 2 days of observation, he was finally allowed to leave the hospital. Hearing this, Oliver had already packed himself up early, sitting on the bed, neck craned in anticipation. When I approached, His eyes brightened. Only when I helped him into the car did he remember to act shy. Are we living together now? Yes, we're married. If we don't live together, you'll suspect I have other dogs on the side. Or, do you not want to live with me now? The traffic light turned red, so I looked at Oliver. His expression was anxious. Of course I want to. I'm happy, just not used to sharing a bed with a man yet. I nodded. At 18, Oliver still had straight man thinking. Before those 3 years of chasing me, he hadn't gone through the mental shift. Still naive and inexperienced, he needed time to adapt. And guidance. No worries, there are plenty of rooms at home, we can sleep in separate beds. Oliver went silent again. He twisted his body, sulking with his back to me. I smiled. Finally, a couple of peaceful days. This guy was clingy, especially in bed, so I had no intention of coaxing him this time. Oliver became even angrier. He glanced at me occasionally, then turned his head, deliberately making a fuss. It was amusing. Clearly a childlike personality, wanting attention but too proud to ask for it, waiting for me to notice. His sulking lasted until we entered the room. He saw the wedding photos hanging on the walls. The largest one hung in the center of the bedroom. I remembered how smug he had looked when he hung it up. I want everyone to know, you, Parker, have been married to me. Now. Oliver's face was red to the base of his neck. He twisted and fidgeted. Why are the photos everywhere? Aren't you ashamed? I pretended to ponder. Yeah, a bit embarrassing. Maybe we should put them away, since we're going to divorce anyway. At that, Oliver exploded. Who said anything about divorce? I'm only 18, and you've already taken me. You owe me for life. I laughed. The flustered Oliver was too cute. I couldn't resist ruffling his hair. Fine, I'll be responsible. Oliver finally calmed down, red-faced and shy. Next time, don't hang them up. Let's just make a photo album. I nodded in full agreement. Yes, don't hang them up again. Ignoring his momentarily wide-eyed glare, I went to the bathroom to change. Lying in the bathtub, I finally relaxed. These days, taking care of Oliver and managing the company had me running between hospital and office. Nerves stretched tight. Now, wrapped in the warm water, my fatigue began to ease. But barely had I closed my eyes when I heard movement at the door. I opened my eyes to see Oliver's flustered figure rushing away. I smiled to myself. He was adorable, wiping the wet hair from my face. I walked into the master bedroom. By now, Oliver seemed much calmer, though his ear tips were still red when he saw me. He looked away, complaining. Why is the bathroom door transparent? Just now, you almost saw everything. His eyelashes fluttered rapidly. As he finished speaking, his face quickly heated up. He seemed to imagine something, turned his head, and coughed a few times. Don't play like that again. What if someone else had seen? I raised an eyebrow. He had chosen the transparent glass himself, and had made quite a scene in the bathroom a few times before. The more he played, the bolder he became. He even begged me to go along with it, to indulge him. Now, after the accident, he'd forgotten everything. The pervert had turned into a pure little puppy, and suddenly, the one who was timid was me. I laughed in disbelief and walked up to him, about to say something, but he took a few steps back. I followed until he had nowhere to retreat, and he plopped onto the bed. Oliver's eyes widened. He tilted his head up at me, his face burning hotter and hotter, and his stammering mind clearly racing with some indecent thoughts. Why you? What are you going to do? I haven't showered yet. I bent down with a smile, making him even more flustered. Slowly, I leaned in and lightly pecked the corner of his mouth. It's a goodnight kiss. Without paying further attention to him, I went to the wardrobe to grab tomorrow's clothes, only to meet his burning gaze. Oliver's Adam's apple bobbed as he touched his own lips. Eyes locked on me, a trace of disappointment flickering, until he saw the clothes in my hands. Where are you going? I lifted the outfit slightly. Aren't you still adjusting? Tonight, we're sleeping in separate rooms. Saying that, I carried the clothes to the guest room, but in the middle of the night, I felt someone hugging me tightly. Half asleep, I mumbled, Oliver. He didn't respond, only adjusted his hold slightly, finding a comfortable angle, and held me close. The next morning, I didn't wake in Oliver's arms. I was alone in the king-sized bed. Oliver had already gone for a run and returned. At 18, he needed little sleep and was full of energy. When he saw me, his face blushed before he even spoke. You're awake. I brought you breakfast. He waved a tray of pan-fried buns at me, smiling brightly. For some reason, as soon as I went out, I wanted to buy these buns. Maybe I liked them before. He handed me a pair of chopsticks while talking. I took them calmly. What I didn't tell him was that these buns were heavy on green onions. Oliver hated green onions, but seeing me love them, he always bought them for me. Before his memory loss, he would often get breakfast for me, lining up early to make sure I had some. Thinking of this warmed my heart, and I looked at him. He took a bite and immediately winced from the heat, exclaiming, "How come there's green onion inside? Am I going to like it now?" I laughed, eyes curved. "You idiot." The cozy atmosphere didn't last long, it was interrupted. Someone had come to apologize. It was the same people from the private room, insisting I was with Oliver for money. That night, I was talking nonsense. "Don't take it to heart," one of them said, setting down the apology gift and handing over a contract. Oliver, still in his confused state, had no memory of the events. "What did you say back then?" he asked. The man didn't answer. He glanced nervously at me, stammering, unable to form a coherent explanation. I saw his awkwardness, but didn't bother hearing the nonsense again. Taking the contract to the study. This contract was their compensation, but not for me, because those insulting words reached Owen's ears. To defend me and support Oliver, he directly targeted those people's companies. The heirs in the private room, used to indulgence and play, could only appeal to their family elders when offended. The contract represented the elders' concessions, the usage rights for the land in the southern suburb, with a profit of no less than 200 million if developed properly, perfectly to my liking. Yet the noise from downstairs annoyed me. "You're talking nonsense. My Parker can make more money than you all. Why would he be with me for money? You're superficial. Stop underestimating him. I'm handsome, good-looking, we're a perfect match. What does a toad like you have to do with it? Take all your stuff back. I don't want it." Oliver spoke as he pulled the person toward the door. Ryan, who had appeared at some point, quickly tried to intervene. "They're here to apologize, not for what you think." Oliver glared. "You go too." After the noisy crowd had left, the whole house fell quiet again. Oliver exhaled sharply, cursing under his breath. I handed him a cup of warm water and, during a pause, tentatively asked, "What if I really had been with you because of your father back then?" Oliver froze mid-drink. With a bang, he slammed the cup down on the coffee table, glaring at me with eyes burning red with anger. My heart skipped a beat, palms sweating. Only then did I realize, it wasn't that Oliver was overly clingy. It was that I had always needed him too. I couldn't imagine what I'd do if he truly despised me for that reason. "Even you think I'm not good enough for you?" His voice was muffled, pitiful, and he drooped his head, like a small dog trapped in a cardboard box during a downpour, trying desperately to guard it, only to have it ripped away. The little puppy was utterly disappointed and dejected. I was stunned by what he meant. So all this time, that's what he was worrying about. My silence made him feel even more wronged. He turned away from me, sulking in the corner of the sofa. "Even if you regret it, it doesn't matter. We're already married. Don't think you can leave." My heart softened, and I ruffled his hair. "How could you ever be unworthy of me? You're the best little dog in the world." Oliver didn't respond, still looking glum, but when he caught my meaning, he immediately bristled. "I'm not your dog, I'm your husband." A little dog's moods are quick to flare and quick to fade. While handling some things, Oliver suddenly leaned close, eyes sparkling. "Can you tell me the story of how we fell in love?" Then he feigned nonchalance, shy about asking. "Not that I really need to hear it, I just want to understand the memories I lost, in case I remember one day." With that cute little head so close, I couldn't resist. I unconsciously scratched under his chin and started telling him about college, from the moment he fell in love with me at first sight, to the 3 years he chased me, then about the day I graduated and he proposed. I could talk for a week and he'd never get tired of listening. I was the one almost bored of recounting it all. "So, you married me because you loved me?" Oliver asked again, seeking reassurance. I replied habitually, "Yes, I married you because I love you." He smiled, satisfied. "When are you moving back to the master bedroom?" I looked up into his blazing eyes, fingers brushing against each other. Oliver still got shy and embarrassed, yet small gestures like kisses and cuddles had become instinctive for him now, and his look said he wanted to take things a step further. That night, I moved back into the master bedroom. Oliver had already showered and was sitting under the covers, cheeks flushed as he waited. I walked slowly over, hand reaching toward his heated cheek. The dim lighting made the atmosphere intimate. Just as I was about to speak, Oliver's phone rang. He ignored it. I recognized Owen's ringtone and urged him to answer. Reluctantly, he picked up. "Dad, what is it?" he said, clearly annoyed. "You little brat, I've been sleepless, flying abroad for a neurologist for your marriage, and here you are, not picking up and sleeping so early." Owen's voice was just as harsh. Oliver was nonchalant. Can we really compare? You're an old man alone. I have someone to keep me warm. Both were fiery personalities, neither knew how to speak gently. Worried they'd argue, I took Oliver's phone. Dad, you mean you found a doctor who can treat Oliver's memory loss? Don't spoil him too much. Let him sleep tonight, but don't forget to bring him to the hospital tomorrow. So, on the first night back in the master bedroom, I slept simply. Oliver sulked, and all I could do was give him a kiss, smoothing his hair. The next morning, I took Oliver to the hospital. After the checkup, the doctor prescribed some medication, but Oliver grew increasingly anxious. He kept holding my hand, over and over, seeking reassurance. He was extremely insecure. I didn't understand why, until one night, after he had drunk a little too much. Parker, do you love me now, or the me from before? I pinched his red ears gently. I love both. As long as it's you, I love you. But he pressed further. If it's me and my old self drowning in water, who would you save? I froze. Drunk as he was, how could he ask something so sharp? My silence earned him crying into my chest. He wailed. I knew it. I knew you liked him. If it weren't for him, you wouldn't love me. Wah. I don't want medicine anymore. I don't want it. It's bitter. It makes me disappear. When he comes back, I won't exist, right? You just want to push me away, to let him come back. Oliver cried so hard I couldn't comfort him. No matter what I said, he thought I was lying to soothe him, just to wait for the non-existent him. I couldn't help but laugh and get frustrated at the same time. All I could do was keep kissing him until he cried himself to sleep. Noticing the unease in Oliver, I decided to let him stop taking the medication. After all, whether before or after his memory loss, we had feelings for each other. If he couldn't remember, so be it, we could still make new memories together. Oliver's reaction to me letting him stop the medication was pure delight. He looked as if he had just won a battle and planted a fierce kiss on me. I knew it. You love me the most, he declared. When Owen came by, Oliver didn't hide it at all. Perhaps in his good mood, he even pranced over to give him a playful punch on the back. Then, suddenly, he exclaimed, Dad, thank you for being so rich, and for making me so good-looking. Owen rolled his eyes hard. Weren't you just saying money doesn't matter? And now this? Oliver grinned. Well, I've finally figured things out. He paused, counting on his fingers. Look, if Parker liked money, our family's rich enough. If he liked looks, I'm handsome. If he likes both, then that's just my trademark. Thanks, Dad. Get out of here, Owen muttered, shoving Oliver away. Though Oliver immediately stuck close again, I couldn't help but laugh and glanced at the calendar. 2 months had passed since Oliver's car accident. Just when I thought he wouldn't remember anything, one ordinary morning, Oliver recalled everything. He looked at me with a mix of frustration and amusement. Parker, you left me alone in the house for 2 months and lied to me. I froze mid-brushstroke, turning toward him. The man before me had an air of composure, shedding his youthful naivety, exuding dominance and strength, but that only lasted a moment. The next second, Oliver completely broke. He pulled me into his arms, voice soft and coaxing. I won't overthink it anymore. Just promise me, you'll always like me, okay? Though it was playful, this Oliver was commanding even when acting spoiled. Without waiting for an answer, he lifted me up. I don't care. You owe me for these past 2 months. As we got closer to the bedroom, I realized his intent and struggled. Not today. It's Monday. I still have work. Stop fussing. Oliver patted my butt with a mischievous grin. I've already taken care of your leave. Today, your job is to be with me. Sore and stiff, I almost couldn't straighten up. After our tender moment, I found myself reflecting on why I had been with him in the first place. When he learned that I had been supported by him all along, he remained calm. So, you were trying to repay me? I nodded, a little worried he might overthink it, and was about to explain more, but he cut in, saying, thank Dad for seeing your value, and thank Dad for giving me such a good wife. He didn't know just how grateful Oliver was. Without his kindness, Oliver and I might have completely missed each other.